Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavad Pranam, your microphone is not on. Prabhu, we cannot hear you, your mic is not on somehow.
Hari Kopijana Vallabha Giri Vardhari Kopijana Vallabha Giri Vardhari Kopijana Vallabha Giri Vardhari Yasodanandana Brajana Ranjana Yasodanandana Brajana Ranjana Yasodanandana Brajana Ranjana Yasodanandana Brajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Girdhari Radha Girdhari Radhe Jaya Radha Girdhari Radha Girdhari Radhe Prabhupada, 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 Prabhupada. Jai Jai Prabhupada, 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 Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai Vishpad Paramahamsa Pravijikacharya Sotara Sata Shishimadesi Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada ki Jai ISKCON founder Charya Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki Jai Anantakoti Vaishnavrinda ki Jai Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki Jai Jai Rupa Sanatan Bhatta Raghunath Jiva Gopala Bhatta Dasa Raghunath Shad Goswami Papagan ki Prem se kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shamakun Radhakun Gir Govardhana ki. Shri Vrindavan Dham ki. Navadvip Mayapur Dham ki. Jagannath Puri Dham ki. Jamunamai ki. Gangamai ki. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki. Samaveda Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki. Gaur Premanande. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shishi Guru, Gauranga. Glories to Srila Prabhupada. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pastai Bhatale Shrimati Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namane. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gaur Vani Vacharne Nivishesha Sunani Vischadistarne. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. We're getting to hear from Srimad Bhagavatam, 4th canto, chapter 30, text number 11. Yad Yuyam Patur Adesham. Yad Yuyam Patur Adesham. Agrahishta Mudhanvita. Agrahishta Mudhanvita. Ato va ushiti kirtir. Ato va ushati kirtir. Lokan anu bhavishyati. Lokan anu bhavishyati. Yadyuyam pitar adisham. Agrahishta madanvitaha. Atova ushiti kirtir. Lokananu bhavishyati. Yadyuyam pitar adesham. Agrahishta madanvitaha. Atova ushiti kirtir. Lokananu bhavishyati. Yadyuyam pitar adesham. Agrahishta madanvitaha. Atova ushati kirtir. Lokananu bhavishyati. Agrahishta madanvitaha. Atova ushati kirtir. Lokanana bhavishyati. Yadyuyam pitradesham. Agrahishta madanvitaha. Atova ushati kirtir. Lokanana bhavishyati. Yadyuyam pitra adesham. Agrahishta madanvitaha. Atova ushati kirtir. Lokanana bhavishyati. Yet, because Yuyam, you, Pitu, of your father. Adesham, the order. Agrahishta, accepted. Mada'anvitaha, in great happiness. Ato, therefore, vaha, your, ushati, attractive, kirti, glories, lokana nu, throughout the universe, bhavishyati, will become possible. Translation, because you have with pleasure accepted within your hearts the orders of your Father and have executed those orders very faithfully, your attractive qualities will be celebrated all over the world. Please repeat. Because you have with pleasure accepted within your hearts the orders of your Father and have executed those orders very faithfully, your attractive qualities will be celebrated all over the world. Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki. Since every living entity is part and parcel of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he has small independence. Sometimes unintelligent men ask why one's put into a miserable condition even though everyone's under the control of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Because of his minute independence, the living entity can obey or disobey the orders of the Supreme Lord. If he obeys the Supreme Lord's orders, he becomes happy. If he does not, he becomes unhappy. Therefore, the living entity creates his own happiness or unhappiness. The Supreme Lord does not enforce these on anyone. The Supreme Lord praised the Prachetas because they all faithfully obeyed the orders of their father. The Lord therefore blessed the sons of King Prachinabarsha because they obeyed their father's orders. If we could pray together, please. Om Jnana-timirandasya Gnananjana Salakya Chakshun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadandikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shita Padikamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raganathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shivashakan Vitamscha Hey Krishna Karana Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate Tapta Kanchana Gaurange Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhana Sutta Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakopatrubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Before I attempt to serve Srila Prabhupada's purport in this wonderful verse, Saturday, a couple of days ago, was a appearance day. Wasn't on the calendar, but very auspicious day, and I thought since I just found out yesterday, share a little nectar with you. It was the 6th tithi of the waxing phase of the moon in the Vedic month of Chaitra, and it was the appearance day of Yamuna Devi, commemorating the descent of Yamuna Devi on this earth. So it's celebrated as her birth anniversary. Mostly it's celebrated in the Uttar Pradesh where Vraj is, but Let's hear a little nectar about Yamuna Devi. Following summarization is from Padmalochan Prabhu's book, Yamuna Devi, the personification of Prema Bhakti. He was writing nectar about Vraj before any of the other devotees were. He had wandered throughout Vraj, and he had studied and had scriptures translated into English for his ability to share the nectar with us. This is something that he shares from that book. Small little book, but full of nectar. The descent of river Jamuna. We learn from the Garga Samhita and Brahma Vaivarta Purana that Viraja Devi, that's a gopi in Goloka, was cursed by Srimati Radharani to become a river on earth. Now, curses in Goloka Vrindavan are not like curses here in this world. People get angry and Well, Srimati Radharani was very upset. She was unable to serve Lord Krishna. He was associating with Viraja Devi in a forest grove, and when Radharani came to find her lover, they both became afraid and they hid, disappeared. Second time it happened, she cursed her. I know what you're doing, I know. Anyway, she cursed her to become a river. And of course, this is all Krishna's Leela. Radharani's anger is transcendental. It is nothing but an expression of unalloyed pure love for Krishna. And so when Viraja was cursed, Lord Krishna comforted her, explaining she would always be near him in Vrindavan as river Jamuna, and also become one of his wives in Dwarka. As she began leaving Goloka, she met Ganga Devi, who was also on her way to earth to purify the living entities entrapped there. The transcendental waters of Jamuna and Ganga joined together and traveled as one river throughout Vaikuntha until they eventually came to the edge of the universe. When Lord Vamanade pierced a hole with his toe in the covering of the universe, both Jamuna and Ganga flowed in and descended on Dhruvaloka, then down to the planets of the Shapta Rishis, before visiting Chandraloka, and then Lord Brahma's abode on Mount Meru. From there, the rivers divided into 4 branches. The one that takes a southern direction falls onto the Himalayas. Here Yamuna separates and flows down Kalinda Parvata, the mountain of Kalinda, becoming Kalindi, the daughter of Kalinda, to Yamunotri, that's in the Himalayas, and eventually flows into and around Vrindavan Dham. Now we get to hear about the birth of the personal form of Yamuna Devi. Kalindi, Yamuna Devi, took birth from Vivishwan, or the sun god, and Sangya, the daughter of Vishvakarma. Due to Vivishwan's bright effulgence, we can just imagine, Sangya would close her eyes when he approached her, becoming angry with Sangya. He cursed her that a son would take birth from her who would take everyone's life away. He also blessed her that she would give birth to a daughter who would free everyone from birth and death. Sangya gave birth to twins, Yama, or Yamaraj, and Yami, Yamuna. Both Yama and Yami appeared in a golden-colored form simultaneously. Yamuna's golden color form is Vishaka Devi, who's actually the original person from whom Viraja Devi, or Yamuna Devi, has expanded. Simultaneously, Yamuna Devi is also known as Krishna because her body is blackish. Yamuna Devi ki. So in Vraj, different things have the potency to give us love of Godhead, the dust of Vraj, and also the Jamuna River. Bathing in Jamuna is so auspicious. Jiva Goswami, when comparing Mother Ganga, us Mayapur Vasis have a little cringe when we hear this, but he glorifies Mother Jamuna as being 1,000 times more potent than the Ganga. It's not specifically referring to Ganga Devi in Mayapur, because Gauranga's lotus feet are bathed and worshipped there by Ganga Devi. But in general, the Ganga flowing throughout the subcontinent of India, Jamuna Devi is understood to be 1,000 times more potent. Very, very merciful. And Kali Yuga's been rough a few decades ago. Rough on Yamuna. So much industrialization in UP. And so much toxic waste dumped into her. But back in the 70s, you could bathe every day in Mother Jamuna. We used to take the boys in the Gurukula and play, swim, run around, have such wonderful, wonderful exercise and activities of play in the Mother Jamuna. So ecstatic, crystal clear. And from what I understand, they've greatly taken to task the factories dumping all the toxic waste in, and I hear she's in much better shape. But she's the eternal servant of Lord Krishna. She is never Vrindavan. The Lord would never, or Radharani, when Krishna said, I'm going down to Gokula. Would you please come with me? Oh, I can't leave Vrindavan. I can't leave Jamuna. I can't leave Govardhan. No worries. Jamuna and Govardhan, they'll be there. We'll be able to have our pastimes with their company. So anyway, that's a little nectar about Yamuna Devi that was shared by Jai Vijay, who did so many years of parikrama padayatra throughout India, and he has that book, The Glories of Mother Ganga Devi, and he's included that nectar on Jamuna. So let's try and remember and discuss a little bit about this verse. So the Lord was very pleased with the Pachetas because they worshiped the order, they faithfully accepted the order within their heart and executed it of their father. What was the order? It was to go and perform austerities so you can become purified, to take up the post of king of our kingdom. In and of itself, let's start with this. Does anybody remember what the austerities of the body are?
To offer respect to God.
Give the man a microphone, please. Thank you, Vijay. Austerities of the body.
To offer respects to Krishna, to the spiritual master, to the saintly people, Deva Dvija Guru Pragya Pujanam, Socham to be clean, Arjuna to be simple, to be celibate, and Brahmachari and to be nonviolent.
And specifically in the verse, Srila Prabhupada puts worshipping superiors like father and mother also. So that was the connection I was seeing in the execution of the order of their father. Those who were born in Vedic, and especially Vaishnava Vedic culture, what an immense advantage they have over us aspiring devotees born in Malecha culture. We have been dealing with so much parabdha karma, which has engaged us in sinful activities and kept us from being trained from birth in how to become a civilized person, to realize the potential that the human form of life can offer. From the very beginning, respect is taught. Very beginning. And it's just reinforced continually as time goes on, increasingly. And if you respect your superiors, something that is a joke for the most part in Malecha Western culture, it's just become increasingly more memory, a distant memory, a thing of the past, respect of teachers, respect of parents, respect of tradition, etc. Powers that be have influenced the degradation of the youth through miseducation, etc. But when you realize, when you practice respect and realize respect for your superiors, then what's a concomitant factor automatically takes place within the heart? One becomes humble. Humility is the foundation of spiritual life. To realize I'm an insignificant part and parcel of Krishna's Tatashta Shakti. I'm his eternal servant. And in Vedic culture, when one follows these norms of duty, respect, etc., then it only molds one to be receptive to surrendering to God's representatives, to the Guru, to the Vaishnavas. Krishna is the one who established this Vedic culture. It's called Varnashram Dharma. Chatur Yam maya shrishtam gunakarma vibhagashaha tasya kartaram apimam vidyakararam avyam. According to the three modes of material nature and the work associated with them, the four divisions of human society are created by me. And although I'm the creator of this system, you should know that I am yet the non-doer, being unchangeable. The laws don't apply to Krishna. They apply to us, conditioned souls in this material world. But Krishna is so kind that not only does he speak and establish the process of Varnashram, but he himself follows it. He doesn't have to. There's nothing to be gained by his following Varnashram. He's the supreme purifier. We become purified by following duties as they're given in Varnashram, according to Scripture and saints. And it's interesting because Krishna has the big picture in mind. I mean, we hear Dharma svanushtita pumsam vishvaksena katasuya notpadiye yadi ritim shrama evahi kevalam. Occupational activities a man performs according to his own position, this of course is Varnashram, are only so much useless labor if they do not provoke attraction for the message of the personality of Godhead. So as Vaishnavas, we emphasize the absolute standard. That if your dharma doesn't bring you to surrender to in service to the Lord, then what's the use? You'll just have to take another body. It might be a nice body if you properly execute it. It will be a nice body. But you'll still have to suffer the threefold miseries and the birth, death, disease, and old age. Something nobody likes. So we want to become free of this. So the Vaishnavas, they encourage, come up to the transcendental platform of service to Krishna. Otherwise, you're just wasting the human form of life. But the big picture is understood by Krishna. This universe and everything in it is designed by the Lord to eventually bring the conditioned souls out of it and back to home, back to Godhead, to his eternal service. And so this is a big step. Varnashram Dharma. This is civilized human society. It allows for proper functioning of society, peacefulness, prosperity, fulfillment of one's desires, and even ultimately to develop detachment. and a desire to leave behind this world, that there's something more. It's a perfect system. And so in and of itself, Srila Prabhupada in his purport is focusing on they were given orders by their father and they executed those orders and the Lord was pleased. But their father at the time, he was basically a karmi, and I mean that in the strictest sense of the definition according to Vedic terms. He was a faithful follower of the fruitive activities offered in the Karma Kandiya section of the Vedas. He listened to the Brahmins, he engaged the Brahmins in performing so many of the yagyas that we heard, animal sacrifices, etc. He was not in the transcendental position. And accepting the order and following the order of their father, if they had not come in contact with Lord Shiva, I don't know whether or not we'd be hearing of their activities in the pages of the Bhagavatam, because they would have been just another pious king. Kings, I should say, the 9 Prachetas. They would have been good kings, and the citizens of their kingdom would have been happy and prosperous. But it's bhakti. It's the connection with Krishna's service that is the perfection of everything in this world. So when they're executing the order of their father, they're pleasing the Lord. They're creating sukriti. And according to their good fortune, the Param Vaishnav, Lord Shiva, comes and he benedicts them with transcendental instructions and sound vibration, glorification of Krishna. And they faithfully execute his order. To see, they didn't have to wrestle with it. I didn't listen to my teachers. I didn't listen to my parents. I'm not going to listen to my... usually people, they'll listen to their guru. Usually. They had to really have bad association and become really arrogantly offensive before they start chewing on their guru. But other Prabhus, that's not that uncommon. I mean, it's sad when you see it. And it's easy to see. It's just like when somebody has a big pimple on their face. When somebody is not submissive to their superiors, you just kind of like scratch your head and wonder why. Don't you know what you're missing out on? The ability to practice a little bit of humility and to submit yourself. Instead, we allow ourselves to be submitting to the false ego, thinking, I got it together, I'm advanced, I see your faults, why would I surrender to you? Why would I offer you respects? It really is like a big pimple on the face. It's ugly. But people don't even realize it. That's the potency of Maya. You don't even realize when you're arrogant. And then if you're deep enough, covered enough by Maya, then even when you do know you're arrogant, you're cavalier and you're all right with that. That's who I am. What a loss. But when one has been properly trained, then it's very easy to go the full 9 yards. Srila Prabhupada was raised as a Vaishnava by his pure devotee father. Other relatives wanting to become a barrister, go to England for education. And his father said, no, my son will not become a malecha. And he taught him all the things that Prabhupada taught us, the playing of mridanga, the chanting of kirtan, etc. He learned these in seed-like form, the basis from his father. And when he met his spiritual master, his heart was able to fully accept and surrender to His Divine Grace, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Thakur. And pray for decades for the empowerment to be able to follow that impossible order. Devotees of the caliber of the Prachetas and Srila Prabhupada, they're worshipable and their qualities are known throughout the universe. We're talking about Satya Yuga here, Chakshusha, Manvantara. millions and millions of years ago. And here we are talking about them. Incredible. Krishna likes that his surrendered devotees are glorified. He likes it more than hearing his own glories. Lord Chaitanya is the perfect example. It's stated he's an artist who knows how to perfectly orchestrate that the qualities of the devotees are brought out and seen by others so that everybody can glorify them. And when we glorify these qualities, when we think about their activities and the standard of their surrender, then it gives us something, a bar to shoot for, something to pray about, to aspire for. Krishna consciousness is very easy, very, very easy. Here we're talking about varnashram specifically in this verse, executing the order of one's superior. Their varna was obviously Kshatriya. Basically, they would be considered brahmacharis, spiritual ashram. So, it doesn't matter what varna or ashram you're in, if you will worship the Lord. As Krishna says in the 18th chapter, by following his qualities of work, every man can become perfect. Now please hear from me how this can be done. By worship of the Lord, who's the source of all beings and who is all-pervading, a man can attain perfection through performing his own work. You don't have to change anything. You have qualities, you have a nature, and the spiritual master will train you how to dovetail that nature in activities that can be pleasing to the Lord. Lord Brahma had that prayer, famous prayer, Jnane Prayasam Udapasya Namanta Eva. I won't chant the whole verse, but you remain wherever you are in life, whatever station, whatever job, whatever ashram you may be in. But give up mental speculation, that pride that you're special and you know something. Give it up. Cultivate humility to realize you're a fool. What do you know? What can your senses perceive? What can your tiny pea-like brain understand about the inconceivable absolute truth? That He, which is beyond this material world, Adhoksaja Sri Krishna. What can you know? What can you understand? Give up mental speculation and hear, just simply hear from the Vaishnavas in disciplic succession. Hear the glories of Krishna. Hear the names of Krishna. Hear the process of sadhana bhakti. If we will do that and develop a traction for it, it's the perfection of our activities. And as it's stated in the same chapter, second chapter of the first canto, Ata pumbir dvijasheshtas varnashrama vibhagashaha sanushtitasya dharmasya samsadir haritoshanam. It's therefore concluded that the highest perfection one can achieve by discharging the duties prescribed for one's own occupation, according to caste divisions and orders of life, is to please the personality of Godhead. That's everything. If you can please Krishna, you're going to be happy. Prabhupada makes mention that unintelligent men, they may concede, okay, you say God's in control of everything. It's His fault we're miserable. It's His fault this world is a hellhole. I'm suffering because of Him. Of course, when they're happy, they don't try to point the same finger and give credit to Krishna. But an unintelligent person says, Yeah, he's in perfect control, complete control, so it's his fault. No. Krishna gives every living entity minute independence. It's our nature. As Swami yesterday was quoting the Declaration of Independence, inalienable rights. As the eternal part and parcel of Krishna, you have minute independence that not even God will take away. No one can take it away. Your call, your decision, you bear the responsibility. And Krishna demands, surrender to me. Sarva dharma prityaja. Surrender, you rascals. Give up everything else. Or at least prioritize in the highest sense. Serving me, pleasing me. That's your actual self-interest. Nate vidu swartagatim hi Vishnu. But people don't understand this. They think, oh, if I'm selfish, then I'll be happy because I'm focused on me. It's the complete opposite. When you focus on Krishna, then you're completely satisfied. And if you can't surrender to Krishna to the degree that you're surrendering to superiors, to that degree the mind becomes peaceful. You can experience that drop of water in the desert of this material world of happiness. You will have some relief because you are acting in your capacity as a servant. Perfection is servant of Krishna and the Vaishnavas, but any capacity of surrendering as a servant is conducive. It is beneficial for the conditioned souls. So when rascals don't accept the proposal given by God, don't follow the example shown by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and the devotees in how to try and please Krishna, concoct their own methods, follow the dictates of their own mind and senses, and other fools, was it hogs, dogs, camels, and asses, or blind men, then you bear the result. You bear the responsibility. Be afraid. Be anxious. Be in constant suffering. That's the reality. It's bad. It's all bad. Life in forgetfulness of Krishna. It's like one of those as a kid I used to play pinball machine. Bing, 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 bouncing all over bouncing from one misery to the next. And always with the hope that, oh, this time it's going to be better. I'll be happy. I'll get it down this time. Such foolishness. So don't blame God. Don't blame anybody else. When you follow the herd and you make the wrong decisions, don't blame the herd or the leader or what have you. Human life is meant for inquiring about truth, the absolute truth in the highest sense. But human life is meant to acquire knowledge for improvement, for the manifestation of the potential of the living being, the development of good qualities. And the perfection, the highest result of that is surrendering to Krishna and his representatives and engaging in the devotional service of Krishna. So Krishna consciousness, as I said, is so easy. Just add Krishna. Just submissively listen to the good guidance of those who have nothing that they're seeking to exploit from you. Listen to those devotees who are simply giving, who are simply trying to serve and help you and others. The nectar of Krishna's names and glories are not of this world. And those who add that process of bhakti, of hearing and chanting and remembering those transcendental sound vibrations are so fortunate. Lord Chaitanya told Prajumya Mishra, you are the most fortunate person. Anyone who has developed an attraction to hearing about Krishna very soon will find shelter at the lotus feet of Lord Krishna. And he advised him, you should go, because Prajumya was admitting, I'm fallen, I'm sinful, I'm offensive, I'm a fool. Please, even despite all my disqualifications, somehow or other I've found shelter at your lotus feet. You've given me your shelter, so please give me instruction. Please share with me some Krishna Katha. And Lord Chaitanya in his humility said, I don't know much about Krishna or Krishna Katha, but I listen to Ramananda Roy. He is the authority on Krishna Katha. You should approach him. So this is what we do. Somehow or other we become attracted to the association of devotees. We appreciate them. We develop faith that they have something. I want that something. And start following their example. Listen to their good advice. When one is fortunate and takes shelter of someone, you find somebody who inspires you like no one else has ever done before, and who you can give your life to in surrendered service, submissive service, and then take to the process wholeheartedly. Pull the stops out. You come against an obstacle, then you pray for Prabhupada with the touch of his toe to smash whatever boulder-like obstacle remains in the process. Call out loudly the names of your Guru and Krishna when one is facing difficulty or danger or Maya. Take the bhajana kriyas sincerely. If we do this, the sweetness of Krishna consciousness will imperceptibly saturate our consciousness and our lives, and we will be the better for it, and will be allowed to share that nectar with others. Are there any questions or additions, comments?
Yes, Prabhu. Did Srila Prabhupada's father have a guru?
I've never heard who his guru was. That's a really good question, isn't it? 50 years and never heard that question. That's Vaishnava Sangha. Boy, now we have some homework. Thank you for asking, Bhakti Mike. You have connection with some Sangha where you can put that for the leaders, right? Would you do that for us, please? Thank you, Vijay Prabhu. I look forward to hearing that one. They were born in a family of Vaishnavas. This much we can say from Bhagavad Gita and the purport, that this was a generational family of devotees. So surely he would have had a guru. I don't know who the guru is. They always worshiped the deities. They were very strict. The Day family. Transcendentalists. Looking forward to the answer to that. Yes, Bhakta Ravi.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. In this particular verse, the Lord is praising the Prachetas that they are very good because they have actually followed the orders of their father.
Yes.
So I am little confused because I feel that if Lord has said this, it means that his father has praised them in this regard. Then his father must have been a special soul. If not, why would he appreciate this fact?
He is a special soul. He didn't get the mercy before his sons, he got mercy of Narada Muni, association, the mercy, and took it up and, transformed his life, perfected his life by the association of Narada Muni, which reminds us of Lord Chaitanya asking Raghunandana and Mukunda. Mukunda was the father and Raghunandana was the son. Yes, who's the son and who's the father? Mukunda said, Raghunandana is the father, because he's achieved the mercy of Krishna. Krishna actually ate, disappearing, consuming the offering that the boy would make. That had never happened in the service of the deity with Mukunda. So Lord Chaitanya was very pleased. Yes, this is proper. Which goes to show etiquette is there. Raghunandana would be a very submissive and obedient son to his father, but the real standard is Krishna consciousness. The highest respect is given to Krishna consciousness, no matter who possesses it and what, body, gender, race, etc., caste. So he was special. It's just that he, like we say, Krishna knows the big picture. He knows past, present, and future, and all living entities. So these are very special souls, and we benefit by hearing their experiences, their life experiences, so that we can try and follow in their footsteps. Does that give you some clarification? Bhakti Glenn?
Thank you for the class, Rajendranandana Prabhu. I like the pastime of Yamuna Devi when you started off. I really appreciate it.
Yamuna Maharani Ki. Yeah, you can chant her. There's a mantra. What is it? Om Gange Cha Yamuna Chaiva Godavari Saraswati Kavare Sindhu. I might have left out one of the holy rivers, but there's a mantra, you could find it, that you can chant while taking bath and invoke the presence of these divine personalities for purification. That's there. Like I say, being situated in Mayapur, it's been 35 years since I've been in Vraj. So, what is it? Gangarani, no. Yeah, Gangarani, Rakshamam, Bhagavati, Pahi Mam. So I chant that mantra every day, invoking the presence of Ganga Devi, the eternal servant of Lord Chaitanya. She can give Krishna prema there in Mayapur. But anyway, remember, thank you for appreciating. Yeah. When I saw that, I thought, whoa, that's too good to let pass by. So anything else? Dimitri? Thank you for your association, your attention, your time, your patience. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ke, Srila Prabhupada ke, Samaveda Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ke. Are you
I don't know.
so
Could you say
sure?
some
That's a great question.
I'm
I thought that was formulated very nicely, because you're touching on 2 points. Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita, 18th chapter, he says that in every activity there is sin. Smoke in every endeavor. And it is stated that if a Shudra follows the master, or a wife follows the husband, or if the child follows the parent, etc., that the responsibility of being misled falls on the shoulders of the parent, the husband, the master. That's there. But simultaneously, I think it's a higher principle. This is my conviction. That in the army, you take an oath. And your oath is to uphold and defend the Constitution of the United States, those inalienable rights that God has given us from all enemies, external and domestic. And it was proven, it was accepted, certainly a higher principle at the Nuremberg trials, that you cannot simply say there are lines that cannot be crossed where you say, they told me to do it. I was just following orders. No, there's culpability. Now you were bringing up spiritual, which is most important. So if a guru, if a Vaishnava, if an authority engages us or instructs and tries to engage us in something that is against the wishes of our founder Acharya and the pleasure of the Lord, then they have stepped outside the realm of their authority. And the example is Bali Maharaj with Shukracharya. He committed guru aparad. He offended his guru. But he did so for the higher principle that Guru's supposed to be engaging me in pleasing Krishna, and you're trying to get me away from serving Krishna. So I can't follow you. Please forgive me. And so that's the principle that there are rules, there are regulations throughout the Shastras, but ultimately the highest consideration would be what will please Krishna, because that's what everything is designed for. And the gopis giving the dust from their feet for Krishna's headache is a perfect example. They deserve, and who knows, as far as they knew, they would go to hell. I'm a subordinate, and I'm going to put the dust of my feet on Krishna's head? Of course I'll go to hell. But if it will please him, small price to pay. So both things are there. We cooperate in this movement. That's the main thing. And we tolerate when things are a little... It happens. We tolerate. Because the step and the standard I'm talking about is one only most cautiously and hesitatingly and reservedly enacted. And one better be on solid ground and have consulted with other Vaishnavas who are highly elevated before you start taking an axe to the authority of seniors, what to speak of guru. So, but I think given in that context, I think that's my understanding. We're not meant to be sheeple. We're meant to be independently thoughtful servants of the Lord and His devotees. And this is an educational movement. And our responsibility as members of the movement is to educate ourselves and others so that the proper decisions can be made. So nobody's cheated. How can cheating take place? Only where there's ignorance. And how can there be ignorance if we're following the instructions and doing what we're meant to be doing? Studying, applying, practicing every day. Trying to improve, increase, surrender more. Where's the possibility to be cheated or to fall into Maya, Prabhupada would say? You won't. You can't. If you're under the shelter of Guru's instructions, Krishna's the pleasing service to Krishna. So I think that's how I'll answer that. Any thoughts, or you think that has some... Balaram, would you like to say something? You don't want to touch that one. All glories to the assembled Vaishnavas. All glories to Shishi Guru and Gauranga.